Shown at the beginning of the movie, a hospital is shown. A doctor and an assistant are busy taking the body of a young woman for cremation. Her hand was moving. Later they cremate the young woman's body. Thereupon, the screams of the woman rising from within were heard by a sweeper there. He immediately went there and opened the door. It was then that he realized the shocking fact that it was a zombie. In this way, the sweeper was also burned along with the zombie. Later, the scene shows Elise and her mother coming to the hospital for surgery. Elise's friend Josh was also with them on the trip. The mysterious hospital was located far away from the city. Genja, the doctor there, welcomed the three of them. Elise's friend Josh was a medical student, but he had dropped out because he was afraid of seeing blood. The senior doctor there examined Elise before the surgery. This was the same doctor who had cremated the zombie at the beginning of the movie. In the meantime, her mother was taken to the operating room for surgery. Later, Ellison and Josh are talking outside the hospital. At this time, Wilson, the ward boy there, came and got to know them. Later they came and took Elise for surgery. At this time, Wilson took Josh to the hospital dispensary. Later, Wilson went into a room there to take some medicines. When Josh, who was alone, walked around, he saw that sight. A young woman with her hands and feet tied and a mask on was screaming and crying there. Seeing this sight, Josh felt sad and took off her mask. But he was literally shocked and trembled at her horrible form. It was a zombie that the hospital authorities had held captive. Hearing the noise, Wilson also ran there. Seeing this horrifying sight, Wilson took Josh and ran out. But at this time, the zombie was trying to untie all the knots in her hand. Josh immediately went to her operating room to save Elise and escape from there. While the doctors were telling him to go out, the sleeping injection in the doctor's hand accidentally poked into Josh's hand. With that, Josh fell to the ground unconscious. But at this time, the zombie in the hospital had come out of the room. After a while, Josh, who had regained consciousness, again rushed to Elise's side. He immediately went out with her, but at that time, all the people there were running to the lift to escape. This is because all the people there, bitten by the zombie woman that Josh had released, are turning into zombies. The power supply suddenly went out. Immediately people are running down the staircase to save their lives. Many people fell down while running. Some were captured by zombies. Josh and Elise, who were standing there without understanding anything, suddenly saw that sight. A doctor who has become a zombie attacks a young woman who was lying in the surgery room. Seeing the two of them, the zombie is crawling toward them. Josh is trying to kill the zombie with the stick in his hand. Unfortunately, in the meantime, Josh got an electric shock. With that, Josh fell to the ground and fainted. Although Ellison shook him many times, Josh did not wake up. But at this time, the zombie inside was crawling towards her. With that, thinking that Josh was dead, she ran out. But just behind her, there was a zombie. To save her life, she ran into an operating room that was there. With that, the zombie who had reached just behind her brutally attacked all the doctors there. As the doctor's attention was diverted, the amount of medicine injected into the patient there became excessive, and the patient's stomach started to swell. As many zombies started running there, Ellison somehow managed to get out of there. In the next moment, the stomach of the patient inside swelled and burst. From there, Ellison ran to her mother, who had been taken to the operating room. At the same time, a young man and a young woman were hiding in the hospital kitchen, out of sight of the zombies. As she went on, Ellison also came across another young woman who had escaped and ran away without completing the surgery. Although she tried to enter the kitchen to escape, the young man and woman there did not open the door, thinking they were zombies. With that, the young woman and Ellison ran in two different directions. Finally, Ellison reached her mother, who was lying unconscious in the operating theater. She put her mother on a stretcher and rescued her from there. By this time, the entire hospital was filled with zombies. While escaping from there, a zombie there saw Elise. The zombie was rushing towards her at high speed. Breaking the door on the way, she tried to carry her mother and escape from there. Unfortunately, at this time, a zombie who had rushed there bit her mother's leg. Fortunately, at this time, Wilson came there and killed the zombie. At this time, the young man who was hiding in the kitchen made an attempt to get out. With that, all the zombies outside killed the young man. Seeing this sight, the young woman who was with him ran away from there. It was at this time that Josh, who was lying unconscious, regained consciousness. Seeing the shocking sights around him, he was worried and trembled. He fearfully walked forward and ended up in the hospital's laboratory. There were bodies of many living beings stored there. However, a zombie blood stain that was stuck to the wall fell into one of them. With that, he was shocked to see the creature opening its eyes, turning into a zombie. It rushed to attack him. Terrified, he ran out of there. He ran and ended up with the senior doctor and Genja. At that time, they were burning all the papers containing information about the zombies. This is because they knew that if it reached the government, it would be a problem. At the same time, Wilson, carrying Ellison's mother, had reached the hospital staff who were hiding there. At the same time, Josh, Jenja, and the doctor were slowly moving forward to escape. Suddenly, Wilson knocked Josh down, mistaking him for a zombie. When Elise saw Josh, she was very happy. The senior doctor told the others that since Elise's mother was infected, she should be killed. But by then, Elise's mother had vomited blood on the doctor's face. With that, everyone became concerned whether the doctor was also infected. With that, the doctor said that he knew how to make a vaccine against the zombie virus and took them to the lab. This is because this doctor himself had discovered the zombie virus, as part of making a medicine to maintain youth. At first, he had experimented with it on animals, but later he transferred it to the patients who came there. That's how the patients in that hospital became zombies. So, after these experiments, he injected the zombie vaccine he had made into Elise's mother. But the vaccine did not work. Who gave you the idea to create such a cruel virus? Josh asked the senior doctor. Jenja, he said in a low voice, but only Wilson understood who it was. To prevent anyone else from knowing about her part in this experiment, Jenja immediately hacked him to death. He is infected. The senior doctor will immediately become a zombie, that's why I killed him, Jenja lied to the others. In the meantime, the hospital staff who had been treating Elise's mother bit him, and he got infected. Terrified, he cut off his bitten hand with a machine that was there to prevent the infection from spreading. Ellison realized with pain that it was dangerous for her mother, who had become a zombie, to be alive. So, she took an axe that was there and, holding back her grief, killed her own mother. Later, the five of them go to the top of the building to escape. In the meantime, Josh had built a powerful bomb and put it around the neck of a zombie that came to attack him. But he was not able to turn on the bomb. So, they all reached the top of the building. Later, they all use a plank that was there to cross to another building. But the young man in the group whose hand was cut off could not balance, and he fell from it and was tragically killed. But by then, the zombies had reached the top of the building. With that, Josh also somehow managed to cross to the next building. So, they all went inside that building. It was at this time that Wilson told Jenja that he had heard the senior doctor say that, "You're the cause of the zombie virus." No one else was there at that time. Therefore, Jenja decided to kill Wilson so that these truths would not be revealed. They moved forward and saw that sight with fear. The inside of that building is also full of zombies. Killing a zombie on the way, they all together saved a young woman who was hiding there. Later, Jenja cleverly called Wilson to her side. She had laid a zombie that was tied up in the way he was coming. So as soon as he entered, he was bitten by the zombie. Realizing that this was Jenja's betrayal, he killed her so that no one else would know about it. By the time the others ran there, hearing the sound, he had covered his wounds. He lied to the others that a zombie had killed Jenja. Later, they ran out of there and saw the police who had surrounded the building. Happy to see the police, the young woman they had saved ran to the police. But what happened was different. Mistaking her for a zombie, the police shot and killed her. Moreover, thinking that everyone had turned into zombies, the police were launching a strong attack on the building. With that, the three of them were running towards the tunnel in that building. While running, the creature that had turned into a zombie tried to bite Josh. With that, he crushed it and moved forward. So, finally, they entered the tunnel. While running fast, Josh, thinking that, if I don't tell Ellison that thing now, it won't be right, shows her the ring he was going to propose to her with. While running for her life, she did not have time to look at all that. So she continued to run forward with Wilson. So, they found another manhole there and she put her fingers out for help. But the police on guard there thought that they were zombies. So, they drove a vehicle over it, and her fingers got stuck in it. It was at this time that they also heard the growl of zombies there. With that, the selfish Wilson ran forward from there. But Josh saved her from there by using the knife in his hand to cut off Ellison's fingers. With that, Ellison realized his sincere love. The two of them, who ran after Wilson, found another manhole there and took Ellison out through it. Fortunately, there was no police guard there. Later, Wilson also cleverly got out by stepping on Josh's shoulder. By then, the zombies who had reached there had jumped on Josh's body. Wilson told Ellison that the zombies had captured Josh and that he was infected. Later, after killing the zombie, Josh extended a helping hand to Wilson, but the cruel man closed the manhole and escaped from there with Ellison in a car. At the same time, Josh was running through the tunnel to escape from the zombies. After going a little further, Ellison saw the wound where a zombie had bitten Wilson's body. With that, Wilson tried to kill Ellison, but she immediately took a screwdriver from the car, stabbed him, and pushed him out of the vehicle. By then, he had started to become a zombie. So she killed Wilson by hitting him with the vehicle. Later she drives forward at high speed from there. But at this time, the zombies had captured Josh inside the tunnel. Fortunately, the zombie with the bomb he had hung on it had also reached there. He immediately pressed the switch on it and ran away from there. The bomb exploded immediately, and in its vibration, all the manholes that were there were opened. But through this, the zombies started to come out. At the same time, Josh had also come out in the same way. But he was seriously injured in the explosion. However, he had safely kept the proposal ring to put on Elisa's hand. He slowly walked towards the road. At this time, Ellison, who was driving fast, also noticed that zombies were coming out through the manhole. It was at this time that a very tired Josh came out onto the road for help. Unfortunately, Ellison, who came that way, thought he was a zombie. She immediately increased the speed of the vehicle and rushed to hit him. But when she got close, Ellison realized that it was Josh. But by then, the vehicle had hit him. She looked back as the body of her friend, who was covered in blood, fell from the car. With that, she lost control of the vehicle. It hit a tree, and Ellison was also tragically killed. At the same time, the proposal ring that had fallen from Josh's hand was rolling towards Ellison. The movie ends with this scene.